Hello and welcome to this video. My name's David Thorne and you're watching David's videos. Now, 7 years ago I created a video called HTML, how to build a complete static HTML website part 1, and I basically went through for an hour and 39 minutes and showed you how to create a website. So I'm redoing this. Who is this video for? I am guessing you know zero about how to create a website and you just want to know how to create a website. This is the video for you. Okay, I'm a professional software developer. I work for Check24 and I've been doing this for a long time. I don't create websites anymore, but I've got enough knowledge to give you so you can create a website. Which website we're going to create? This is the website that we're going to create. Okay, if you go to w3schools.com, blah blah blah, link in the description. This is the exact website that we're going to create completely, step by step. Okay, and I'm going to go through it and I'm going to explain everything you need to do so you can learn how to do it. All right, and by the end of this video you should have enough knowledge of how to create this website. All right, and then to be able to change the images that you need to have. So let's get started. We'll try and keep it in step by step, that every piece you'll learn and you'll work out how to do it. You need zero previous experience for this. As long as you've got a computer, I'm working on a Mac here, but it won't make a huge big difference. It won't make a huge big difference. It should make zero difference. Okay. So I'm using Chrome as well. You could use Firefox or Edge, Internet Explorer. Any of these will do exactly the same thing. So and if it doesn't, then have a research of how to do it, but you should be fine. Okay. So the first thing you need to do is go to your desktop and right click and create a folder. In this situation, we're going to call it banned websites. And now I've already got a folder named banned website. Double click into this folder. Even if you're on Windows or Linux or whatever, it's going to be the same thing. Go into there and create a new folder called images. And once you've done that, right click again. You're going to have to create a file. Now if you're on Windows, you're going to have the file extensions shown, right? But by default it doesn't. If you don't know how to do that, then have a research of how to show, to show file extensions. Okay, and then create a file that is called index.html. This is what you want to do. Now, once you've done that, we've now got the basics for this. My advice to you right now is, if you haven't got a program installed, 1 second, you want to get a program installed called Visual Studio Code. Visual Studio Code. You don't have to use this program, right? But it will just really help to follow along whilst I'm doing this video if you use the same text editor. Okay, so go to code.visualstudio.com and download this and install this. It's going to be really quick, really simple. And once you've got this installed, open it up. Right, and if you're on Mac, then you just type here and type Visual Studio Code and it'll open up. Now I'm already on that banned website folder, but all you have to do is go File, Open, come to the folder that you want, so desktop, and then go onto banned website and click Open, and then it'll open up. If you have any difficulty with creating the index.html file, it's no problem. You can click on this plus icon here that says new file, and then come here and then we'll say test.html, and that will create the file for you that you need. Let's go ahead and delete this file and move to trash. Okay, so first step is what we want to have is we want to have a folder, and inside of this folder we want to have another folder called images, and then inside of the banned websites we want to have another file called index.html. I'm going to get into explaining HTML later, but this is what you want to have right now. Okay, so I have been and gone on to this website W3 schools, and this link, this URL, and I've gone and downloaded all of these images. How do you do that? Going to show you now. So right click on the image that you want to do and say open image in new tab, and this will then open up. Then all you have to do from here is right click it and save image as, and save it in your images folder, and this one's called Chicago. So just click save and it'll be saved there. We don't need this. And it'll be saved in that folder. You can close this down. You can go to the next image, right click it, open image in a new tab, go to that tab, right click the image, save image as, and then save it once again. Okay, that's exactly how you do it. And just basically go through the whole website here, right clicking on every single image and then saving them into the folder using the same names. Really, really simple. Okay, so now that we've got all of these images, you can see we've got band member, we've got chicago.jpg, we've got la.jpg, map.jpg, New York.jpg or JPG, we've got ny.jpg, paris.jpg, and San Fran.jpg. And then outside of that, we've got an index.html file. The next folder we want to create is one called CSS. We'll get into this later about what it means and so on, but that's what it means. The next thing we're going to do is create another folder, and we're going to call it JS. And we're going to talk about it later, about what that stands for and why we're creating it. All right. Now, inside of if we highlight the CSS folder, and then we can right click and do new file, or we can come here and tap on this icon, the new file icon, and then we're going to create a layout.css file inside of that. We're then going to tap on the JS folder, and we're going to create a new file, and we're going to say call this app.js. Now once we've got all these basic files created, we now want to come into the index.html file, and we want to start writing a couple of lines of code. For the time being, I'm not going to explain what it's doing. You're just going to have to follow me, and as we go through, we'll show you what's happening. Okay, and we're going to type here is less than sign. So this one here is less than sign, and this one here is greater than sign. Okay, so this is less than sign and this is greater than sign. You're going to be using these all the time, so you need to make sure that you know where they are. All right, and it's shift, so it's less than sign, greater than sign. Okay, and we're going to do exclamation mark, and we're going to type doc type space HTML, and then close it with then the greater than sign. So it needs to be looking like this. Now, if you don't know how to save a file without going to File, Save, you can press Control S or Command S on a Mac, and that will save the file. If you look up here in index.html, when I create more lines, you'll see this white circle up here. That's telling you that your file is not being saved. So by pressing Command and then S, so holding down Command and then pressing S, it will save that one file. Otherwise, we can come up to File and we can do Save here. And you can see there it says Command Save. And there's also Shift Command S is Save As, and then there's the other sign option Command S is to save all. And you can also have Auto Save on. In this situation, I'm going to advise you to tap Auto Save, and this should save the files. As you can see, every edit that I make will save the files all the time, which is good. So you want to have, in this situation, Auto Save on. Because you're a beginner, it's worthwhile. All right, so once we've done that, we're then going to type in HTML, and Visual Studio Code is going to finish it for you. I'll do it again. So we do less than sign, HTML, and then we hold Shift down and do the greater than sign, and then Visual Studio Code is going to do it for you. If it doesn't, then you're going to have to write it yourself. Okay, then we're going to do double tap of the enter button. That's going to space the lines. And this is something you've really got to get used to doing now. HTML, which is what this is, hypertext markup language. This is what this is, all right? Is a way of a website. I'm not going to get into the history of it because you can read in Wikipedia somewhere, but when you open a tag, right, this is opening a tag. This is the open tag. You've got to close it, right? Just think about this. If you open a tag, you must close it straight away. This is all you're ever going to care about. When you learn HTML, once you've opened a tag, you immediately close the tag. That's it. You don't need to learn any other rules than that. You open a tag, you close the tag. And first of all, we need to have an opening HTML and closing HTML tags. The next ones we want to have are head. So go ahead and create head. And then we want to have body. So what you should have now is HTML open, and then head open, head close, body open, body close, HTML close. So this is then creating your structure. I've highlighted this and pressed tab so it tabs in, so it's cleaner. You'll understand this as we go along, that we want to have clean code so we can read it later. This is programming, it's being able to read it later. Okay, so now we have this head. With inside of the head, the open and close head tag. Right, so open tag, open head tag, close head tag. I don't want to sound patronizing. I'm just trying to reiterate things so it stays in. Open head tag, close head tag. Place your cursor between, and if it's at the beginning, press tab so it moves in. Nice, just once. Otherwise, you can press space 4 times, but just tab once in. And then we're going to do here, we're going to do title, and then do greater than sign, and it's going to do it for us. And then we're going to press enter to put it onto a new line. And it's auto save. So every single time you do something, try and save it as well. But we've got auto save on. So now we've got the title. Inside of the body, we're just going to skip over why we're doing this, but we're just going to do it. And we're going to type in div, and then we're going to open it. This div is our main thing that we're going to talk about later, our main box. Let's just say div's our box for now, right? So when we say div, we mean box. And title is a special HTML hypertext markup language tag element, which you can say tag element, that we're going to use. And as you can see, a closing tag has this greater than sign and then forward slash. All right, so that's how you can differentiate an opening tag and a closing tag. The closing tag has a forward slash after the less than sign. Okay, so it's like a little container. And inside this title, you guessed it, this is going to be the title of the page in the browser. Up here you see HTML how to build a complete, and you see w3.css template. This is the title. So anything you place inside of here is going to be your title. So in this example, my space website is going to be displayed as the title in your website. This is going to be a website. And inside of our div box, the 2 tags, we're going to say hello world, and we're going to save it, right? And this is all we care about right now. This is your first website. Now, big question is, how do I see this website, right? Well, there's a couple of ways of doing it, but the quickest and easiest way of doing this is go into your folder, right, and have your browser in the background like this, and have your Finder or your folder from Windows here, and select the index.html and hold your left mouse button down, and then just drag it, and then just place it in the browser, and then it will do this, and you'll have, like here, you've got users /David Dawn /desktop /band website /index.html, and here you can see hello world. This is your first website. Now, you can, on Mac, if you press the command button, so press the command button first of all, and then press, so keep it held down and then press the tab, you'll get the navigator thing coming up, and just navigate back to Visual Studio Code, and let's change hello world to hello world ... and then control save to save, come back to Firefox or Internet Explorer, and then refresh the page. And you can do F5 or Control R on the Mac, or Command R on the Mac, sorry, and this will refresh it. And now you can see there's 3 dots. I'm sure you know about how websites work because it's like 2019, but this is what you need to do. So once you're developing it, you've got to refresh the page to see your new results all the time. All right. So we come back to our page, and now we know how our website has been created. So because we're not going to talk about the small stuff, we're just going to keep on moving to create the website that we want to have. All right. Next thing we've got to do is we've got to create this banner up the top, right? We're not going to worry about the images for now. We're going to create this black banner, the navigation bar, at the top. Okay, so what we want to have here is, this is where our navigation bar is going to be. Now, a class is going to give us some stylings, and what we're going to call this is, we're going to call this our navigation, or we're going to call it our nav bar. So class, you're going to see what it does in a minute, but this is going to help us style and help us select this one box, and it's going to be a nav bar. Inside of this nav bar, we're going to have a UL, which is an unordered list. You'll see what it is later. And inside of these, it's because it's a list. This is a list item, which is an LI. It's going to be an LI. And all of the text inside of here are going to be links. Now, in HTML, this is called an anchor. So it's a place to anchor from one place to another. All right. And we're going to say A. So we're going to create an open and close A. And inside of here, we're going to say href. And now this is the reference of where the hyperlink reference, where it's going to go to, okay? And for the time being, we're going to put in the £. Just got to trust me with this. And we're going to type home. And we need to have band as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to highlight all of this LI, and we're going to copy and paste. And then we're going to do format document here. And this is then going to be bands. And as you can see, I'm not writing it in uppercase. And this is going to be bands. And the next one is tour. So we're going to copy it again. And we're going to do this. And we're going to write tour. And then we're going to select all. And we can do this and go format document. And it'll always indent everything for us. Don't have to do it every single time. Next one's contact. So let's copy it again. And do contacts, and I think it's Shift Command F, or it's it's that. Oh yeah, that's that one there. Okay, so now we have contacts. Now we want to have more. We're not going to be doing these drop downs because I don't have enough time to do it, and I'm trying to get it within 2 hours. This video done within 2 hours. So we're going to leave more out for the time being, and I might, if I can be bothered tomorrow, I'll do a part 2 with it. But for the time being, we're going to leave it out. Right, so let's now come back to our website here, and we'll refresh it. And you see now you've got 4 links there. And I'm sure you've seen this a lot of times, like 2019, and everyone's got websites. And now these are links. And if I come back to all of these hash £, and we just type home, and then after it, we type bands, and after this, we type tour, and after this, we type contact. You'll know about this with lots of websites today. So let's refresh our page, and we type contact. And you see at the end now, you've got index.html, # contact. And then you've got # tour, # band, # home, # band, # tour, # contact. And this is a way of talking to the browser in a way. I'm not going to tell you what it does at the moment, but it's just to show you we're getting some interaction with the browser. Okay, so now that we've done this, we now want to make this this 4 links spread along, right, and be in a black box at the top? Well, we can do this with styling. But in order to do this with styling, we have to tell the actual browser where our styles are going to be located. And we do this by having a link tag. And some tags don't have to be open and close tags. They can be automatically closed, but there's specific rules for this. And in here we say href, so we're saying it's a location to something, and we created a CSS folder. So what we're going to say is /CSS, and then we're going to say layout.css. And inside of here, what we're going to do is, for the time being, is we're just going to do body like this, and we're not going to do anything, or we'll just say backgrounds here. Just trust me on this for the time being. And we're going to say red. And we're going to load this. And the next tools, which I'm going to talk about shortly, is this tool here, which we want to come and to inspect it. And what it can do for us is it can inspect files. And what we want to be able to do is to know whether our CSS file has been loaded. I'm going to talk about this further, so don't worry about it. And we want to know that our file got loaded. And I can see here that my CSS file, just going to have to trust me, didn't get loaded here because it didn't know actually where it was. So you have to put a dot here and then refresh it. Is it in there? It's a long time since I do this. It's there. Whoops. Okay. And we need to have rel equals type. There it is. Okay. Sorry, I forgot to put in this. You need to type in rel equals style sheet at the end. And now the file gets loaded, and we see background red, which is not right. Okay, there's some things you're going to have to just trust me on. And now we have a background that's red. Okay, but what we do know is that the file has actually been loaded. Now, we're going to remove this because we don't want that. And what we're going to say is star. I'm going to say margin is equal to 0 and padding is equal to 0. And this should work fine. Yes. Okay. By default, there's lots of elements have padding and margin, like buffering and stuff, which we're not going to get into. But as you can see, if I remove this and come here again, it moves it out again. So this is what's happening. Is it saying, hey, you shouldn't have any buffering around it? And what I actually did here was I held down Shift Command and then tap 7, and that comment stuff. So it's telling the browser to ignore it, and we'll get into this later, but it's just a way of me saying comment that out. And this is saying, yeah, I'm not going to get into it because it's just, you're going to have to trust me on some stuff. There's too much stuff to pack into a 2-hour video at once. All right, so I'm going to keep this like this, and what we have here is we have class navbar, and it will start to become apparent in a minute that if I then type in class, whenever I say class with CSS, which is what this is, you have to then start it with a dot. So dot here in the CSS file is saying class in HTML. And it's navbar, and we're going to do the open and close curly braces, and then inside of here we're going to then say height colon, and then make a space, and we're going to say 50 px semicolon. This is going to say be 50 pixels in height, and width is what we're going to say is 100 view width semicolon. This is saying 100% of the viewports, which is the views width that it should be. All right, so we're telling the browser in this file, in this CSS file, hey, this a div with the class of navbar, make it a height of 50 pixels and make it the width of the view itself. And we're going to make the background color, and we're going to make it aqua, for example. All right, and save it as well. We come back to our page, and now you can see that we get a aqua box of height of 50, and it spreads the whole width. Now if we say 50 VW Volkswagen, now you see it's 50% of it, but we don't want that. We want 100. Now you can also say 20 pixels, 30 pixels, but I want it to be the width of the whole viewport completely. You can also say 100%. So you could say 100%, but that's not what I want here. I want 100% of the viewport's width. And the background for the time being, well, we want it actually black. So let's just change it to black. Come here again, and then we're all fine. Okay, the next thing is we want to know that all text inside of this navigation bar is also going to be white. But we're not really that interested in the navigation bar as a whole. We're interested in these tags here, the A tags, the text inside of this home, band, and tour. And we can do this by accessing this A tag as well. And what we can say is we can say navbar, so navbar and all A tags inside of the navbar. So only the A tags inside of the navbar. So what it's saying is only inside of here. So inside of this here, all A's are going to be styled, and they're going to have text color. Sorry, they're going to have color of white. Semicolon. You have to make sure you end it with a semicolon. Must. 100%. There's no other times. Must. Okay. And we save this. We refresh it. Now we see the text is white here. Okay. The next thing that we want to do is the unordered list at the moment is still going vertical. We want it to go horizontal. All right. So the way we do this is we say navbar once again, because I only want to speak to this inside of the navbar, and we say UL. And we say, first of all, list style type is none. And this is going to remove the dots. It's got lots of dots on the left-hand side. You can have dots or squares and so on. So this list style type is saying what type of dots or things on the left should it have. And we're saying don't have any for the time being. And that helps. And in this situation, we're going to say it should have the 100% width of its parent. And as we can see here, this URL's parent is this div. So we're saying have 100% of its parents. And you won't really see much difference. But if we select this now, the URL, you can see it actually has 100% of its parents, because it's like turned like light blue and so on. But that's getting into technical stuff. The next thing we want to do is we want to style these LIs. So what we have to do is we have to come here and say navbar UL LI. We don't have to do it that way, but we are going to do it that way. And we're going to say float left. And what this is doing is it's saying it that rather than like always find a new line, because HTML will always try and find a new line when it can. And this way we're saying, no, don't do that. Just like keep going keep going on the same line as far as you can go, all right? And you'll see what happens here shortly, and you'll see it'll all stay on one line, so it won't revert to the next line. It will just keep staying on the same line until it gets to the end and it's got to go to the next line, all right? So now it does this, but now they're like too compact together. We want to have them like, we don't want to have a specific width, we want to have it relative to the size of the text. So what we can do here is we can say padding. Padding is padding is inside of the box. So if you can imagine, hugging, right? If you hug someone, and as you hug something, you say the thing that you're hugging can have padding with inside of the hugging, so it kind of pushes it out a little bit, all right? And so what we can say here is we want to say left and right, and what we'll do is we'll just say dash left, and we'll say 20 pixels, and then padding right, do 20 pixels also. Now let's refresh the page, and you'll see they're nicely moved out now. We also want to make the LIs the same height as the, if we hover over an LI, you see that they're only 18 pixels. We want to have the height of its parents. So what we do here is we say height equals 100%. And let's do a background color of red, just so we can see what it is. And now you can see it didn't take the height of it, all right? And okay, so we have to potentially do this height 50 here. Okay, so now it has a height of 50. There's some rules about different tags that do or don't like it, and I'm trying to do this as quick as possible, and I don't do websites anymore. I do applications on the iPhone, so there's a few things since I made the first video that I'm not 100% always have in my head. So, but let's keep moving on. So now we're just forcing it to be a height of 50. I'm sure there's another way of doing that, but we're forcing it to keep a height of 50. Next thing what we want to do is we want to drop the text down to be in the middle. Now but I think this height is a bit too big. I think we should say 40. So, whoops, don't want to do that. Let's say 40. Come here, 40 as well. Refresh our page and do 40. That looks a bit better. Now we want to find the text in the middle. Now the easiest way that I find to do this is to say line height, and you take the height and you just knock off like 2 or 3 on it. So if we say 37 pixels, whoops, just say 37 pixels, it pretty much works. It's my hack, and then it sits in the middle. Okay, at the moment the text has this line underneath it, which we don't want. We only want to have this line when the cursor hovers over, because we're talking about websites, the cursor hovers over it. But so in order to get rid of the line, we need to talk to the A tag, all right? And so we now want to be explicit here and say on the A again inside the nav bar, we want to say text decoration and it's none. This is basically saying don't have a line there. We could say underline, but we're going to say none, and this will then remove the line, as you can see. All right, now whoops, what did that happen? Why did that do that? Okay, there we go. Okay, so now it removes the line. There's also, I don't like the text, the font that's there. So what we're going to say is font family here, and I prefer Arial Helvetica, and select this semicolon as well, and we'll refresh this and we get a little bit better text now. And as you can see, the boxes are all actual different sizes in relation to each other. Okay, now what we want to have is this hover. All right, so when you hover the mouse over it, it changes, the text changes, now it underlines the text. So what we can do is if we copy this nav A and paste it here and do double, so we do colon, and we type hover, and what we say here is we'll copy the text decoration, and now we're going to say underlined, and we come back to the page, refresh it, And once we, whoops. Oh. Why are you doing that then? That's making me curious now. Let's do this here. Okay, gonna skip over that. I'm sure I'll find the solution later. Anyway, so let's moving on. Let's get rid of this background color of this here, and we'll come to this once again, and we'll do the hover for this, and we'll say background color is equal to brown. Refresh this, and why is this? Because it's on responsive, maybe. Oh, there we go. Okay, right. It was what? Yeah, I'm not sure about why it's doing that. This could be a developer's tools thing that it doesn't. Yeah, okay. I think it's because we're on like mobile mode. That's why. Oh, look at that. It's because it's on mobile mode that it wasn't working. So it's like taking like touch mode rather than mouse mode. Okay. So let's come back to our hover here. And this should work now. I'm pretty certain it should work. So we'll refresh this. And now you see it's underlining and changing the background color. And here it was like a gray. So I think it's probably going to be like A1. That should do, I think. Whoops. Yeah, that looks about right. And there we go. And if you see here, it's got the finger, the pointer, and so on. This is easily done. So what we want to have here is on the hover, we then say cursor equals pointer. So when it does hover, we come back here again, refresh our page, and now we get the cursor, then we get the finger, the pointer, rather than the cursor itself. All right. So what we're saying here is we're saying the navbar URL li, when it hovers, give the background color of the li A1 A1 A1. It's a hexadecimal color. Google this now, hexadecimal colors, and then you'll find out. Change the cursor to be the pointer, and what we'll do is, to be a little bit cleaner, we'll put all the hover stuff here. And what we said here is, we said navbar li hover A should have the text underlined when the li hovers. All right. So we're not saying when you hover over the A, we're saying when you hover over the li, that should have the text decoration underlined. Okay, so we're basically nearly done now with the navbar itself. There's also a search one in here which we want to have. So we're going to keep the search out for now and move on to the next part, which is this banner, right? Which then have which has a background image and also some text in it, which every single time you seem to come here, it seems to change. But okay, it looks like it might be on a random thing. Yeah, okay. So now we need to have an image there with some text in it. So what we're going to do is, I'm not expecting you to really kind of grasp how to do this, but we're going to do git, and I think you should just ignore this, and I'm going to say git add, git commit created navbar and basic project. So all I'm doing is I'm versioning the project, and then we're going to say checkout header. So which is what I think is banned actually, or tour or home. So we're going to say banner. Okay, now we're on not going to get into it. Okay, so now we need to create this box here inside of our. We need to create this box here, and what we're going to do right now is we're just going to place the the image underneath the navigation bar, and later on we'll concentrate upon the navigation bar staying in that position. For the time being, it's always going to scroll and it's going to stay, but we'll move into that later on. Okay, so oops. Now what we've got to do is we've got to come underneath our nav bar, and so we're going to come, so you come to your nav bar and we're going to create another div here, and we're going to do class here, and we're going to say banner. Now inside of this banner, we obviously need to have an image in the background, and then we need to have some text here at the bottom. So in order to be able to do this, we've got to place some boxes on top of each other, which is not too difficult. And an image is an IMG. It's not an image tag, it's an IMG tag. And the source here is going to be images, and I believe that was banned. This image was LA. It doesn't matter. We'll just say LA for now, and do that here, and do this here. All right. So the source, the SRC is saying which image data should be used, and you're giving it a URI, so you're telling it where it's located on the server to get it. Not going to get into that. You're just saying it's in this folder, and have a look in this folder, and yeah, that's what's going to happen. So let's just refresh our page first of all, and now we can see our images there nicely. So, but on here it kind of stretched all the way to the outside, and so we basically need to have it's as big as the picture, right? So if we look here, the image is a little bit smaller. So we need to know that this box, whoops, we need to know that this box is stretched, okay? And if we come to the developer tools and we look at this again, we'll see that our header does, but our image is not being 100%. So what we have to do is we have to use a little bit of CSS for this, as ever, and we say banner is then width of 100% viewport width, height is auto, and yeah, height is auto. And what we'll do is we'll do background color of Cadet blue first of all, and refresh, and we see the Cadet blue back here. So now we just need to know that the image has been stretched as well. So we want to say banner and then IMG, so all images within inside of the banner class box. And we want to do is width is then 100% view width, and then height equals auto. Maybe this will work. Yeah, it does. There we go. So that was nice and easy. So now we can take the background color away of the banner. So now that's potentially been done. So we can come back here, and now we've got to get this text underneath it. So this text is going to be possible, but a little bit harder. So we're going to have to say div once again, class banner text, and inside of here we're going to use p tags because there's text, and it's going to be Chicago. P is paragraph, by the way, and then we're going to copy this, and it's going to be thanks for you blah 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 whatever, and that goes there underneath. Now the problem is with this is that it sits underneath the image, and that's correct because HTML will always sit underneath it. For what we've got to do is we've got to place it on top now of the image. Now we could make the banner, the image, the background image of the banner, but I don't want to do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a little bit of playing around here. So what we have to do is say banner position is equal to relative. This is a complete other video about what that means. And this one is then going to be position is equal to absolute. And no, sorry, we want to have banner text. So we had banner text, yes, banner text is then, yeah, this is then position absolute, and it's going to be bottom 0, yeah, width is equal to 100%, right, and text align is equal to center. So let's just try this again, and now you can see that it sat right at the bottom, right, but we need, so to give you a clue about what happened here, here's the image itself, and here's then the banner text. It's sat on top. It's sat on top of the image. Now, to be completely sure that it's sat on top of it, what we have to do is we have to give them Z index. So X and Y is left and down and up and so on. So Y is down and up, X is left and right, and Z is coming out, right? So although it's like flat, Z is coming out to you. So what we have to do is we'll just say 100 for this one, for the image, because it's underneath, and we'll just say Z index of banner text. It sits on top, so it means that the Z index is one higher than the image, right? So it means that they won't sit over each other. And I could say this, yeah, I could say that banner is then 102. That means the image will sit over top, yeah. But that's Z index. Just research what that means. Okay, so let's say bottom is then 30, and that should move it up a little bit, which is what we wanted. And they got white text here, but we want to have a little bit of padding between margin, we'll say, between the these here, right? So we can come here and we can say here that banner text P, and these margin is pushing out. So if you can imagine, like, hugging is the padding is like from inside, right? Well, margin is like from your outer bits pushing out, right? So we're going to say margin of 30 pixels here for all the P's. It might be a bit too much, but let's do this. And as you can see, they've separated them now, because they're like, hey, get away from me, from in all directions. And 30 was a bit too much, I think. So maybe like 15 should be fine. And that reset, that looks all right. And now we need to give them a color. So we'll just say color is equal to white, all right? Ending with a semicolon, refresh it. That looks good. Maybe the top one we could give, so we could give the top one, because it's supposed to be a little bit bigger, we could actually, we're going to keep it this. So we're going to say header. We're going to say P header, right? Or no, we'll be explicit. Banner text header, right? And then we'll come here and we'll just say that this has then font size of so 1 em is like the standard size of that text inside that box. So if I say that like 1.5, it means it's saying be 1.5 times the standard size of text inside of that box. So we're letting the browser decide of it, or just to decide. And as you can see, it gets 1.5 times bigger than the text that it was before. So you're not defining a pixel size or a point size. You're just saying be 1.5 times bigger than your natural size. Anyway, so that looks pretty good now. Next, so now we've finished the banner as such, which is pretty cool. And if we remove this, it then gets bigger as well, which is awesome. And it looks kind of like that as well, you see? But you can see that the navigation bar sits above it all the time, but we'll change that later on. Okay, so let's save our work completed banner, yes, saved. And now next thing we need to do is, so we've got banner, and then we've got band. So essentially, this other banner down here, the other image, we can pretty much do that. So let's do this other image down here first of all. Tour maybe. What is that? Is that like band or tour or image? Maybe it's merchandise. No, extras, media. No. Okay, well it looks like it's underneath contact. So let's copy this banner, and we can have two of them. That's no problem. Was it that one? No, it was this one. Okay, we can have two of them. It's no problem. But this one's going to be then the what was the name of this image? This is map. So we're going to say map here. And this one actually doesn't have any text in it, so we can remove the text and remove this one line to be nice and tidy, and move this lines as well. And now we can refresh our web page once again, and now we've got two images. See, so now we've got the Chicago image and then the map images, which is pretty cool. So now we can say get add, get this, and then added map banner. Done. So that's finished now. So now we want to remove this and create this band box. So we're going to create this box outside first of all, this white box that's going to sit between the two banner images that we've got. So we want to have the band box. Okay, so between here we're going to say div class this is going to be band box. And now another good word is going to say wrapper, okay? Or you can say container. There's like some common words that you should use. So band container sounds okay. Now band container, we once again need to create some CSS for. So band container is going to be width is equal to the view 100% of the view width totally. Height, well, it's going to be auto, but for the time being we'll have a look at what height it has here, and we can look at this by using the inspector here and come to the console and wait a minute, why are you not doing that? So we've got this box, that box looks like, so it's at the moment it's like 539, so we'll say 540 pixels, and background color is equal to white. So let's refresh our page to see that we've got a box in between, and yes we do. All right, and that's the box that we have in between now, and we'll check that ours is all nice and correct size and nothing's overlapping each other, which is not. Okay, this is now our box. So what else do we need? We need a title here, which is an H2 in this, so we'll use the H2. Okay, so we need to have a title, which is the band, and once again we're still not using capitalized, so I'm going to write this the band, and so the band container, copy this, close the curly braces, and we write H2 after it. And we want color is equal to be white, and H2 has its own intrinsic size, so we don't actually need to change it at the moment, and it wants to be definitely text align center, and from there there's like some padding at the top, there's like some room at the top, so what we're going to say is margin top, so we're going to say push away the top, like 50 pixels probably do, and the width is going to be then, well, it's got an intrinsic width. So if we refresh this now, we should have, oh yeah, it doesn't want to be background white. It wants to be color black, of course. Okay, and there it is. So in comparison to this one, the text is too small. So we want to increase it a little bit. But I don't want it to be bold, so we can say font weight is equal to say like 200. I think that should change it a little bit. That's better. Okay, you can see that it took away some of that weight, that boldness. The higher the number, the more weight it gets. All right, and we can say font size here, and we can say like 1.5 ems to see what that does. So 1.5 of its intrinsic value, which did nothing. So we'll say 3.5, and that got too big. Say 2.5 of its intrinsic value. Yeah, that looks better, but we could probably say just times 2. That looks, we'll say 2.2. Yeah, that's good to me. All right, and now we can say text transform, and here we're going to say uppercase. All right, and this is will then uppercase the text. So now we've got it nicely in the center, and actually the font weight could probably come to 100, I reckon. Okay, it's going to keep it like that. Okay, now we need this underneath it. So we love music, and this can be done nice and easily with a paragraph, and it says we love music. Come here, that's in the center. So we want to be able to move it in the center now. And here, and the ems are going to be then, we want to make it smaller, so I'm going to say 0.8 margin top. Well, here it's got some margin up and down, so we're going to say like 20 up and down, and the color is like a lighter color, so we'll say like 15 top and bottom. Text align center, font weight we can get rid of because it's not bold anyway. Black, we want to have A1, actually probably like 0, so we like 666 maybe. Yeah, that looks good. Text line center, margin top, and do margin bottom as well. Size it, text transform, no, we won't want that. Okay, let's have a look. That looks good. Maybe it could have a little bit more. I'd like different font there as well, but yeah, the margin top could be maybe a little more, and the text size could be like 1.2 actually. Let's have a look. Too big. No, 0.9. There we go, that's better. All right, so this is what it looks like now. Okay, now we need a paragraph here, so we probably can use, we need to give this some context. So our P is going to be here, and we're going to call it subtitle. So we're going to give it a P class of subtitle. Oops. Copy that and come back here. So the way we can do this is by saying band container, and then you can say P and then the class that it's got after it, and that there we then say the color. Otherwise, otherwise the text is going to be, yeah, it'd be fine. Otherwise the text is all going to be like this size and so on. All right, so now we can copy this text and place it inside of a paragraph here and see what it looks like. And there we go. Okay, but it's way too big. So what we want to have is we want to like to restrict it to a certain width, which I reckon that's about 600. That's 700 maybe. So let's give this one now a class of band container, and we're going to say that it's going to be then contents here. Okay, and do this, put this before it again, and we're going to say this is width then 700 pixels. Oops, come back here. Did I not say band container P container content width P contents width 700. What am I doing wrong here? Okay. Did it have a width of 700? No. Container content. What have I done wrong? Maybe I didn't refresh it. I did, yes. Right, it's not like in one of them. No. Band container content. Okay, this is saying banner container. Oh, it's banner. I wrote banner. It's band. That's why. Band container. There we go. That's better. Okay, but now our P is not being centered, which means we need to have a look at this. So band container, yes. Subtitle content, but they're not being, so band container P is not being centered. So we need to have a look at this as well. So H2, text align center. And let's have a look at this again. So what we're seeing here is that it is being band container. Yeah. Okay, so we need to have margin. And in this situation, what we're going to do is we're going to do it in one line. So we're going to say margin left is equal to auto, and the margin right is also equal to auto, and that then puts it in the center, because we gave it a width, it's got to know where to position it. So the text is being centered inside of the paragraph, but the paragraph now needs to be centered inside of its parents, and that's how you do it just there. So that then is done this text. So now we need like these three boxes in here. So what we're going to do to be a good developer is we're going to save our work and band text completed. And the next thing we want to do is we want to have inside of our band container here, we now need to have, so we're going to call this here, and we're going to call it class band members. And inside this band members, it's going to have an unordered list, and it's going to have an LI. So this is going to be the unordered list, and the LI is going to be this thing here. And each LI is going to have a label and also an image. So we need to come in here, and it needs to have then a label, and it then has to have an image, right? And I believe that the image was band member, that one there, right? And the text was name. Okay, so we'll just put name there. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so band members wants to be a width of 700 as well, possibly a little bit smaller. Yeah, we'll do 600 actually, and this one's going to have a margin left and margin right also, and we're going to do a background color just to give it a color for the time being, and it's going to have a height of 100 pixels first of all, just to see that the actual positioning is correct. And as you can see here, we get the box, which 700 could be okay. Maybe our text is too small. You see, that's possibly could be it. We need to maybe give this 800 and give this 730. Let's see what that does. That looks better. Yeah, looks better. Okay, so that's now, we now need to know that the ULs, so we need to do this again with the UL, and this needs to be width is equal to 100%, and list style type is equal to none, and then height is equal to auto. Well, actually height is equal to 100% as well. So it's expanding up and down. And the next thing we want to be able to do is we want to say that the LIs are once again floating left. And they're going to be a width of 33%. Yes. But there's only one of them at the moment. So we now need to give them 3 of them. And we'll format this code. It's good. And then we refresh this. And now we've got 3 of them. These images are obviously a little bit bigger than what it should be. So we'll take away this auto height, this height of 100 pixels. Remove that and refresh it again. And background color is red, but we'll check with the developer tools once again what we got here. And as you can see, band members background color is red. So if we remove, okay, here's the little trick now, is that if we hover over band members, you see it's not highlighted in blue at all, but the other ones you can see it's highlighted in blue, which means they've got a height, they've actually got a size. But floating is kind of like it removes it from the box, and the box doesn't have a height anymore. So a way of resolving this is, if you've got children that are being floated, is by saying overflow is hidden, and then that allows it to be able to see the floated boxes again. And now you can see that we've got our red container, right? So with band members is now the correct height. As you can see, it needs some padding on the bottom. So we're going to say margin bottom, and it's going to be 50. Refresh, and it did nothing because it seems to be this banner is then okay. Band members. Oh, we don't want band members, we want band container. Yeah, we want band container to be 50 on the bottom. That's better. Okay. Is that correct? It's more than 50. It was like about 80. We'll say 100. Yeah, that's better. Okay, so our images have been okay here, but in this one they were a lot smaller. So we need to kind of reduce the images down slightly. Which we can do this by coming to our band members ULLI and so on, and because it knows that it has an image inside of it, we can say a width of, let's say like 60% and a height of auto. This should reduce them down now. Okay, which it did. Now the problem is it's not in the center, but what we can say, an image will always align itself based upon its parent's text align, and just by telling its parent to align its text align center, the image kind of listens to that, and it will, yeah, it's a bit of a hack, but it's actually exactly how it works. So that looks about right. There maybe could be like 65%, just to give it a little bit more. Yeah, we'll go 70. Yeah, that looks better. Okay, so now we can get rid of the red background and reset it. That's looking good. Okay, so now on 1 hour and 9 minutes, which is not bad. This picture's done. Okay, so now we've got the band members is finished, so we can save this. Band members completed. There we go, good stuff. Okay, next thing to do is this tour dates. keep going. Okay, so this tour dates looks pretty much the same as this one here. So we're going to create a tour dates box. Let's get rid of this. And band members, tour dates is completely underneath it. So band members, and then tour dates container. And tour dates container is going to come down here. And this is then width once again of 100 view width. Height we're going to say 200 pixels first of all. And background is then going to be black, and then text, or what's color is then going to be white. And we can kind of copy this, whoops, kind of copy this and paste it in there, and then put that in there. Subtitle it was. So we can come down here, yeah, we can copy this because we need to reuse it, and then copy that and replace this, replace this, and replace this, and replace that. Yeah, and let's come back here. Then we've got We Love Music, yes, and so that was all. The H2 wants to be white, so let's refresh this. That's pretty cool, but it needs to be the H2 margin top. Why did that not? Okay, sometimes it can be a little bit pain in the ass. H2 tour dates, heights. Let's do that. Okay, yeah, that's been okay. This is because this box here is kind of possibly doesn't know how much. Yeah, so it has to be. I believe this will fix it. Yeah, it does. Overflow hidden fixes all of these problems all the time. Okay, so now we see that band is sitting up here and We Love Music, and that was then tour dates. So this should say tour dates. Whoops. And remember to book your tickets. And refresh this. Oh, it looks good. Yeah. Okay, next thing. The next thing we need to do is create now our. Yeah, I don't quite know what's. Okay, so like these 3 boxes now should be quite simple. So tour dates. Tour dates of tickets. I don't know. And this can be a UL, UI, and this is then this can be what this can be is can be like span, and span allows you to span will always be in line, okay? And so we want to have September, and then the second span is going to be then sold out. But this is going to be sold out. And October was the same as well, so we'll copy this. And do this. and that was sold out as well. And then the last one is November, and we'll put sold out in here, but non-breaking space. So we're gonna still have it there programmatically, but it's not gonna have any text in it. Yes, that'll be fine. So tour dates, tickets comes down here, and this needs to be say width of what this was again, which was 730. So we can pretty much copy this, that there. Tour dates, tickets, background color is equal to white, and once again we're working with the UL, so it's going to be this here, and list style type is equal to none, and yeah, you can say width is equal to 100%, height is equal to 100% as well, and we're just going to copy this, paste it to add the LI, and in this case they want to be one after the other, so you don't have to do any floating, and we can say in here spans will always be on the same line, but what they're going to do is they're going to have padding, so they're going to push themselves out, and they're going to have 20 padding on the left 20, and also on the right 20. Check this, okay, but the text needs to be color is equal to black. Yep, that's there. Okay, but we want to have some padding on the bottom, so we want to know that tour dates, tickets. What are we on? We're on tour dates. I need to have a look at this. What's this box called again? Tour dates container. And this is going to have a margin bottom of 100. Yeah, that's fine. But something's being a bugger here again. So what's being bugger here? Well, that's there. That's there, that's there, that's there. But it's obvious that we don't want margin, we want padding bottom. That's better. Okay, that's good. All right, now we just need to kind of fix these things, but what comes under it? Well, they should have a little bit more of a height as well. The LI is here. So we'll say we'll have a like LI of height of like 70 pixels. That should be fine. Maybe too much. Things you can actually fix it here, like temporarily, to check what height you want, and just come here and just have a look and say, well, actually about 40 is fine. So you just change it to 40. And then refresh it again, it's all fine. It looked like it had a line on the bottom, yep, so they're all going to have a border, and in this situation, bottom, and 1 pixel solid A1. I always like to have A1. There we go, that's actually too much. And you can do alpha after this, and we'll say 10 alpha, and it gets a lot. We'll say 40. That's a lot lighter then. But now the spans, they need to have line height as well of 37, so they sit more in the center. That's better. Okay, but now we need to know that, oh look, they're not, these boxes are not being, they're literally being one after the other. So sold out, we're going to say span sold out background color, I don't know, brown for now. Yep, but they don't want to have, or do they? Do they want to have that? Yeah, they want to have some padding, but they also want to have some heights. Let's see, let's do padding top 8 pixels. Padding bottom as well. Maybe too much. Maybe 4. That's fine. Okay, but the one without, we would want to programmatically fix that to actually, we're just going to remove it because it shouldn't have any padding. So we'll remove this one. And that one's fine. Okay, they had a number at the end as well. This can be done nice and easily with having, once again, and we're just going to say class tickets sold, or tickets number, and then we come here and this is then going to be float right, which means that our ticket URL needs to be overflow is hidden because we're floating stuff. Float right, and didn't actually put it there yet, and it had a 3 there, and it's on the right now, but it's on the wrong one. Which one do we want it on? We wanted it on that one. Okay, on here, and it needs to be like a circle and stuff like that, which is easy enough. Refresh it now, it's on the 3, so we want to give it a background, so it needs to have a width now. So a width of, say, we'll say like 30 pixels, and background color is equal to black, and the color should be white. Color is white, and corner is it corner radius box? I completely forgotten. What is it then? CSS corner radius, border radius is there. Border radius is then going to be 15, so it's going to be half of the size. Boy, yeah. Okay, but we don't want to have any padding, and margin was going to be 0 as well. And here we have to say important to force it to not have that, I think. There we go. And we need to say the height is also 30, which means we need to say important, and then the line height is going to be 27, and we need to say important once again. Important saying don't get overridden by anyone else. And margin top is going to be 5, so we push it down slightly. It's a little bit of hacking. And this here, we have to be important as well, because it's a little bit of hacking at the moment. We're overwriting other styles that it had, and that comes around. So we want margin right as well. So 10 pixels, and once again, important. There you go. But the text is not showing up. Why not? Color needs to be important as well. There it is, and text align center. Buff, done, finished. So that's done. Okay, so we got that, and the line height can be like 30 actually. So it didn't look that good. Yeah, that's better. So it's looking good. All right. Is there a space between stuff? So we got. So that's now tour dates done. We can kind of. This will be really easy to do. This one here. Oh, my back's hurting now as well. Hour 25. Nearly done. Nearly done. New terminal. Tour dates. Tickets. Okie dokie. So now we just need to have. So now we've got the tour dates tickets. We're still within inside of our tour dates container, but we want to have the tour dates buy tickets. So the tour dates buy tickets wrapper. And this is going to be, once again, oops. And this is going to be, once again, this height and so on. Yeah, background. Well, we can be white in the beginning. Margin top will to push it away from the thing that's underneath it. Margin top 30, and height in the beginning is going to be 400. Come back here, let's have a look. There we go, there's our box, working perfectly. Okay, now we need to have UL is in there once again, and this is then going to be width is equal to 100%. Height is equal to 100%, and these are going to be, okay, we need to say list style type as well is equal to none as before. Our UL LIs are going to be float left, which means that this box needs to be overflow hidden, and they're all going to be 33%. Yeah, that should be it. We can see this here, but we need to add them first of all. So UL and ULI, and this has got, let's have a look what they've got in it. They've got image, text, 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 and then box. All right, so we want to have text, 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 what was it? Text, 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 boxed, and then image. And this source actually had an image. It was open image in New York, so we got New York. Yeah, and close this, and the next one was Paris, I guess, and San Francisco. So we can do this, Paris, and then this one was San Fran. Yes. And we can refresh this. Now we see the three images there are just doing just fine. The images should be square. So square images in CSS are a little bit difficult to do, but if they're already square, they're 400 by 300. So we want to have the image, first of all, wants to be width equals 100, height equals auto, right? Let's see how this one looks. There we go, that's good. right? But they want to be, yeah, the correct size. But what we're going to do is we need to have this space in between each box. Now, we could do this by having left, middle and right. Or we can have, yeah, we had to do the left and middle one. So essentially it's what's easier, no, it's not easier, because this one comes, the right one comes all the way down. Yeah, you have to put something in the middle. So we do 33%. I don't think, we do 31% with margin. No, it's not going to work. So we'll do, yeah, this is how you do it. You do 2 of these, all right? And this is one center, and this is then outer. And this is going to be 31% each. And so that this one's going to be left, this one's going to be right, and this one's going to be float right, this one's going to be float left, this one's going to be float left with margin left of 1%. What do they call it? Center left. So this one's going to be class left. Center. Let's have a look at that. Yeah, it's looking all right. Maybe this 1% was a bit too much, or maybe 2%, 32%, 1.5. That's better. And that's the center there. Center one, its margin was hardly anything. Let's do 1.5. 1.7. Yeah, it's looking fine, but yeah, the background color of it was it white? No, it was nothing. So this should have no background color, but the LIs should all have, they should all have a background color of white. Yeah, there we go, good. And the text, color should be black as well, and it was there, yes, and then it had a box underneath, so the color should be black. So we have New York, Paris, and New York, Paris, San Francisco. Did I spell it right? I believe I did. Oh, it's with that. And Sunday goes there, goes there, goes there, goes there, goes there, is there, and this is going to be buy ticket was. It's good, but that was all to the left. Yes. And text align left is important. No, that's not going to work. We need to have this by the sounds of it. There we go. Yep. Okay, now we need a little bit of margin to come in. So we need to say they also need margin left is equal to 20. That brings it in. Lovely job. But there's still a little bit too much margin here. So what we do here is we say margin 0, and you say important, and then you say important here, which that's better. Yeah, I like that. But they need to have a little bit of margin up and down. So we want to say, let's say margin 8 pixels, and then we'll override it with this here. Maybe we could say 12. It's better. Probably say 15 actually. Yep, that's good. And the font size is good as well. Font size is good. Now we just want the buy ticket, basically. So we now need to have our buy tickets here, which is then going to be a div, and this is going to be margin 10 pixels, background color is equal to black, color is equal to white, and we'll say important anyway as well. Width is equal, so padding, no, we'll say it's a span actually. Let's change this to be a span. And this is going to have to be, we're going to say display block, which means it doesn't sit on one line. And padding is equal to 20. Well, we can say here top, yeah, padding is equal to 20 pixels. Let's see what this looks like now. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. But why is the width like that? Why have you got a width? Where are you getting the width from, huh? Display block. Yeah, okay, well, it's because the span is taking up the whole size. Yeah. Then we can remove display block. Yes, that's fine. No, that's not that right. It's no, okay. That display block is fine with this. But we're going to do a width of 100 pixels. Oh, maybe do 80. Yeah, and then text, whoops, text align equals center as well. That's fine. And height, padding, we'll just do padding left. See what it looks like now. Yep, it's fine. And give it a padding top and bottom of 10. That's good. And margin left of 15. Yep. Perfect. And was that in the center or left? Yeah, it was left. Okay, that's that bit done. Now it looks like this had too much of padding bottom. Height 400, yeah, okay, so a height of 400, which we can remove. And we can say padding bottom of 60 maybe. Okay, it could be that dates had tour tickets wrapper. Oh, that's not right. Was then sold out tour tickets. It's better. Okay, so that's done now. Let's see whether tour tickets had a, so let's contact. Okay, so tour tickets is now finished. Tour tickets finished. Okay. Right, because it's an hour and 40 minutes now, I think, let's have a look. I think there's enough there to go from here in the in the first video. I think there was enough here to go on the first video. And if you haven't seen, yeah, so the things that you do need to learn about is anchors and so on, how to navigate between different spots here on the page. And this actually, to fix this, these links in the beginning on our navigation. Where is our navigation? It's here. They need to be this effectively. Oops. Whoops, okay. The base ref, okay, in this situation it's a bit silly, but yeah, okay, this is just the development phase. Once you get onto doing it on a production scale, you won't have this problem. But this is to show you how to create your first website, and I hope this is enough. And it's an hour and 45 minutes, and I need to take a rest, and I haven't stopped the whole time. Normally when I'm doing programming, I try and rest after about 30 minutes and stretch, and my back's hurting, my shoulder's hurting now, and I don't want to stop this video because then I won't then start it again. Anyway, if you really need me to finish this, then please write, comment, do whatever, and I'll really do it for you. No problem. I've saved all of the code here, and I've made sure it's all there and so I can start it again. All right. Thanks very much for watching. If you're watching this right now, please like, subscribe. I do make Borussia Dortmund videos and so on, as you can see, but I do have like 120 programming videos already available for you, so there should be enough for you to look at. Anyway, I hope you learned something. Bye.